Thank you so much. Thank you to the IFJ and the Iraqi Journalists Union for the invitation to speak at this conference and talk about the new UN Action Plan on the safety of journalists and impunity, and to talk a bit about what UNESCO's role, both in safety of journalists, but obviously also more broadly in media development, freedom of expression, media legislation, etc. So we look forward to working with you over the next 2 days. I apologize that I can't do my remarks in Arabic. UNESCO, hopefully, as you know, is the only UN agency with a mandate to promote and protect freedom of expression and its corollary, press freedom. And so it's my pleasure to represent the organization along with my colleague Dea, who is based in Iraq. The UNESCO Constitution states that since wars begin in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that the defense of peace must be constructed. And thus, this requires promoting the free flow of ideas by word and image. And so since its creation in 1990, the communications and information sector, which is where I work, is responsible to undertake all necessary actions in order to fulfill this mandate. And our section has 3 main objectives. First, promoting the free flow of ideas and universal access to information, promoting the expression of pluralism and cultural diversity in the media and world information networks, and promoting access to all ICTs. So freedom of expression and its corollary, press freedom, is really a guiding principle of UNESCO that applies to traditional as well as new media. And this issue of, internet freedom, etc., is something I think we'll talk about more throughout the next couple of days. And this cuts across all of UNESCO's areas of competence. This freedom is critical to the This freedom is critical for the 3 Ds: development, democracy, and dialogue. Violence against journalists, therefore, has to be understood as a particular kind of crime that aims to destroy the very pillars of democracy and which deprives the public of fundamental rights enshrined in Article 19 of the Declaration of Human Rights. So UNESCO is therefore taking the lead in coordinating the implementation of the UN Action Plan on the safety of journalists and the issue of impunity. We hope this plan is a new and potentially game-changing initiative. It encourages intergovernmental organizations at the regional and global levels to incorporate journalist safety within their respective strategies. And it establishes a coordinated interagency mechanism to address issues related to the safety of journalists. And just this past couple of weeks, our executive board of UNESCO met and approved UNESCO's work plan on safety of journalists and combating impunity, which builds on our ongoing and broader work on safety, which includes assisting countries to develop legislation and mechanisms favorable to freedom of expression and information, supporting their efforts to implement existing international rules and principles, including capacity building with police and the judiciary, promoting public awareness campaigns on this topic, including specifically the safety of women journalists and social media producers, and continuing the Director General's official condemnation of the killings and unjustified imprisonment of journalists. This chart here shows all of the journalists killed in the Arab region whose deaths were condemned by the Director General. Almost all of them, this is the past 5 years by medium. All of those killed, with the exception of 2, were women. And this disparity is likely the fact, reflective of the fact that women comprise only about a third of journalists working as reporters, as well as other challenges that women face in getting onto the ground in Iraq and elsewhere in the Middle East. Killings of journalists have occurred occurred in at least 9 countries in the region. But the number of states where killings and impunity occurs has risen significantly over the past 5 years. In 2007, there were only 2 states where killings of journalists happened, Iraq and the Philippines. Puzzle up, we have 9 countries where journalists are being killed, of course with Syria leading the way. This is very concerning. Prior to the outbreak of the war in Libya and Syria, the number of journalists being killed in war zones have been falling. As of December 2012, however, before I get to that, one of the things that the Director General does is request information from member states about the status of the investigations into these journalists' deaths. As of December 2012, no member states of the region have responded to requests by the UNESCO Director General for an update on the status of judicial inquiry, including Iraq. So perhaps this is something that you might want to think about urging your government to do. Respond. Find out what is the status of the investigation, because as CPJ has noted, the Committee to Protect Journalists, at least 90% of cases against journalists, attacks and deaths of journalists now get investigated. So this is a key issue for UNESCO. And in terms of the UN kind of action, I want to give you an update on the latest developments. As you hopefully know, there are 4 first-stage countries, of which Iraq is one. They have now begun operationalizing the UN plan and national consultative processes that include multiple UN bodies, national governments, media, civil society, unions are now underway. At the global level, a number of mapping exercises have been completed, and work is commencing on indicators for safety that will set out a baseline against which impacts will be measured. This is one such type of baseline. In terms of capacity building under the plan, UNESCO and the International Federation of Journalists, IFJ, have initiated a training of trainers program that is enlarging the pool of regional and local experts capable of giving safety and security training for journalists. This type of partnership is emblematic of the way that the CI sector, the Communications and Information sector at UNESCO, conducts its work. We work with partners like IFJ. Similarly, UNESCO, the OHCHR, which is the Officer for the High Commissioner for Refugees, and the International News Safety Institute have begun complementary research in this area, including into worldwide trends regarding safety of journalists. And I'm currently in the process of producing a report that will examine trends in freedom of expression and media development that specifically includes a section on safety trends from which this graph was pulled. As you hopefully are aware,